Howdy there, folks. I'm Carla Davis, and welcome to the Best of GameTap. Some games are just like potato chips. One isn't enough. One great game leads to another, and before you know it, you've got a killer gaming franchise. Our staff put their heads together and picked their top 10 favorite franchises on GameTap, and I have the honor and privilege of sharing the results. Our countdown begins with a hearty dose of adventure.
Number 10, the Myst franchise.
Myst really was just this groundbreaking franchise. I mean, it was the first game to really take advantage of the CD-ROM. It actually sold a ton of CD-ROMs. Like, it actually pushed technology. And it was just this beautiful graphic world that nobody had really seen before.
All of a sudden, you're a part of this digital world to the point where you have to look over your shoulder every once in a while to make sure you weren't sucked into the computer.
And there wasn't really any specific goal put in front of you. It was a world you had to figure out on your own. And it really kind of put everything in the hands of the player.
I remember when I first played Myst on the PC, my first experience with that was this: I have no clue what to do right now. And that confusion, but yet that excitement of, now what do I do to get out of here?
I might be able to get you back to the place that you came from.
These games really hold up just because precisely that you don't need all this extra gaming knowledge. You know, you can enjoy the beautiful scenery, you can look around, you can just take your time and just enjoy things.
I think it was really easy to recommend the Myst franchise to maybe the 2 people in the world that haven't heard of it by just showing them screenshots and saying, look at what you're missing.
Number 9, the Tomb Raider franchise.
So Lara Croft is a female spelunker. She's an adventurer. She's the sort of video game equivalent of Indiana Jones.
I think you forgot your climbing gear on purpose.
What would give you that idea?
Lara Croft is great just because she's this strong woman. She can do it herself. She doesn't need a guy coming in to save the day, and she can take care of the problems herself.
This is only one piece of the ski-on. Where's the rest of it?
Quite quickly, she's become one of the most, if not the most, famous video game characters in popular culture.
People look at games and always talk about their immersion level these days, and Tomb Raider was one of the really first ones to attack that concept. Every single level had this incredibly cool feeling of exploration, and then you never really knew what you'd find around the next corner, whether it was a puzzle or some amazing section you had to traverse or some crazy monster or something that, you know, lived deep in this ruin that you'd have to face.
It was the first game to really explore in a workable fashion 3D space with texture maps and polygons from a third-person perspective. 10 years ago, 11 years ago, that was a huge deal.
You really ought to try the Tomb Raider series out because it had a really great storyline and had an incredibly awesome sense of pace and action that most other adventure games have been trying to copy for the last so many years.
Number 8, the Prince of Persia franchise.
In the first Prince of Persia game, you had 1 hour. Now, in a lot of games, 1 hour could take you 12 hours to play through. Well, in Prince of Persia, 1 hour was 1 hour of real time. If you could not complete the entire game and defeat the Vizier in 1 hour, you lost.
It pioneered a new type of animation. If he hadn't run and stopped, he actually stopped, slid a little bit. It actually was the most realistic movie film-like animation.
So really my first big introduction was Prince of Persia: Sands of Time from 2003. I mean, you know, honestly, it's one of the prettiest games ever. And you know, that team really was able to get the mechanics down super well, so you could climb almost anything and jump anywhere.
Kill him!
And for the 3D Prince of Persia, that added the time manipulation where he could actually pause, rewind, or speed up time. But he could basically treat the world like a TiVo, where you say, I did a bad jump, I'll rewind and redo it again kind of thing.
Madness. What magic is this?
Your worst enemy throughout the entire game was the environment. You had to get past swinging blades and spiked columns, death traps where the floor would just fall away.
If you like puzzles, you like logic puzzles, you like working with really good gameplay mechanics, and you like character and great story, Prince of Persia has a little bit of everything for a new gamer.
Number 7, the Baldur's Gate franchise.
For any true Dungeons and Dragons fan that wants to take it from the game board or the tabletop and bring it to this computer aspect, Baldur's Gate is one of the ways to go.
Please, please.
The biggest thing it had to offer for any kind of a D&D or RPG fan was taking what is normally a world of pencil and paper and making it a real world with real buildings, settings, locations, monsters.
When I'm attacking that orc, it's not just like me thinking about attacking orc. It's like, hey, I'm actually watching my little guy swing a sword, hit an orc, and bam, he's dead.
Your life ends here.
It encompasses everything. It encompasses THAC0. It encompasses building your charisma up or building a fighter. Or just every aspect of D&D without actually rolling the dice yourself is right there.
It does that kind of mix of having both a pretty decent fantasy story, but also encouraging people to kind of explore their own adventure.
I stand ready.
So if you're an RPG fan, I would absolutely play it because it's fantastic. And if you're not, well, it's a damn good place to start.
To lighten things up a bit, we move to our funniest franchise, a series of side-splitting adventures with everyone's favorite flatfoots, Sam and Max.
Number 6. The Sam and Max franchise.
Video games aren't always known for their great writing, and a lot of times their humor is really juvenile, and that's why Sam and Max is so refreshing.
We're freelance police. We save the world, sometimes on purpose.
It's just they're really funny, and the delivery is excellent, too.
I think it all goes back to that time we were... No flashback? Okay.
When I first started playing Sam and Max, I was kind of blown away by how funny it was and how many random weird things they said.
Jen running George A. Romero in a baby doll t-shirt outside the food court with a $43 gift certificate.
So naturally, my first reaction was, holy crap, this game is funny, and I never played a game like this, and how the hell do I solve this puzzle?
Feliz Navidad, baby. The cartoons always made him seem a lot more jolly.
There's a lot of great characters in that series besides Sam and Max.
Now you just shut your mouth.
Bosco is one of my favorites. Just his whole paranoid behavior is really funny.
So, how are things?
Oh, you know, not too bad. Except I'm in hell!
Hands down, I would have to say my favorite character is Jurgen, who is an emo vampire.
Oh, look at me. I'm so edgy and subversive.
He's just over the top hysterical in his Europop loving goodness.
Yeah, it's pretty sweet.
Tyrone!
I really enjoy Sam & Max's accessibility. It's one of those games that you can go in, and even if you've never played a game before, you can figure it out.
Games are only like 2 to 3 hours. Once you beat them, you're kind of looking forward to the next one, and each one builds up this sort of overarching story. So if you like games that have a sort of episodic nature, they do a great job.
Now you know, for a better America.
Number 5. The Metal Slug franchise.
I think there's some people out there who really do care about what's going on in Metal Slug, but ultimately, it's about one army trying to blow up another army.
It's just chaotic in every level. There are bullets flying, bombs, explosions, people jumping in from left and right, from below you, from above you, literally from all angles, and you never stop shooting.
Metal Slug has always stood out because of its graphics. Its hand-drawn graphics seem to be timeless in quality.
Mission 1, start!
Every part of that game, if not beautiful on its own, animates in such a way that you could play the game over and over again and still catch things you missed the first time around.
There's a lot of character transformations, and one of the best in the entire series is the zombification ritual. Whenever you get turned into a zombie, your special move becomes this massive vomit attack that spews out all the way across the screen. It's probably the best move in all of the series.
The Metal Slug franchise is one of the best 2D franchises of the 90s. And because it's co-op, it's easy to get into, it's really beautiful and really fun, it's pretty much a good game for anybody.
One of the questions to get into heaven should be, have you beaten all 6 Metal Slug games? So, what's your answer gonna be?
Mission complete!
Number 4. The Warlords Battlecry franchise.
Warlords Battlecry is a series set apart from other real-time strategy series in the fact that it's a really solid RTS, but it also adds a smattering of RPG elements that really sets it apart.
A new age is dawning.
Warlords Battlecry is actually probably the first strategy game to introduce a hero aspect.
Your hero is under attack.
He develops kind of like a role-playing game where the more battles he's in, the better he gets.
He converts your resources to your side.
I claim this site.
He adds combat bonuses to your troops, and he builds buildings. And if you lose him, yeah, you're gonna lose the game.
Your hero has fallen.
The best part of the franchise is the wide array of races and armies that are available to the player. Anything from orcs and elves to undead and insects are there to play as. And it really adds a lot of fun and replayability to the series.
No mess with orcs.
Get as many resources as you can because that's how you make more military.
New armies are available.
To make the bigger army, you gotta spend more money. Be aggressive with your hero early on, grab all the good loot, and then use that loot to make your army really big.
Got spear. Go fight!
Enemy hero has been destroyed.
If you like the battle scenes of Lord of the Rings, where you like seeing lots of guys hitting each other and like one guy yelling charge among kind of things, then that's kind of like the experience you get when you play a Warlords game.
You are victorious.
Number 3, the Hitman franchise.
The plot of the Hitman series is you play Agent 47, who's a genetically engineered assassin who takes on contract jobs.
There's a bullet for everyone, and a time and a place.
It's a stealth game, so everything he does is based on not being detected and being super stealthy.
I have to rely on the element of surprise. You'll never know what hit him.
Agent 47's signature weapon is the piano wire because it's silent, deadly, and easily concealed. You can walk right up to someone and just strangle them and no one will know.
The franchise differs from other action series because one, you're an assassin. In most action series, you're on some noble quest, but in these, you're definitely killing people for money.
His greatest ability is his ability to blend into a crowd. Any guard or any character in the game you can knock out and take their uniform, their clothes, and masquerade as that character. If that's not going to work for you, then you can just come in with your silver ballers and take out everybody.
Each level is designed completely differently. You can go through each level in a different way, and each time you play through that level, you can finish it in a completely different way.
Any kind of action gamer would really like the Hitman series. If you're into stealth games or shooters or action games, then you should absolutely give the Hitman series a try because they've got a little bit of everything all wrapped into one.
Number 2, the Sonic franchise.
Sonic is definitely one of the most loved and favored video game mascots of all of the franchises. He had attitude, he had personality. If you stop for too long, he'll kind of start to tap his foot and look at the screen, or he'll teeter on the edge of a wall if you get too close.
The Sonic franchise is different from other platformers because of the speed. The speed really sets it apart. While you can blaze through a level in just a few seconds, avoiding the pitfalls and spikes and enemies is really difficult.
Not only would it allow you to do some of these cool kind of tricks and stunts, but it also allow you to get to like secret places in the levels that you wouldn't be able to otherwise.
I think my favorite character from the Sonic series is Miles Tails Prower. Miles Prower. Get it? Whenever Sonic leaves Tails in his dust, he likes to helicopter down from the top of the screen.
Like the main Sonic franchise from the Genesis, Sonic 1 through 3, are really all still pretty much classics, and they built on each other really well and have pretty much stayed timeless as excellent 2D platformers.
And now, the moment you've been waiting for. It's our staff's favorite franchise. We're sure you'll get a kick out of it. Oh!
Number 1, the Street Fighter franchise.
Street Fighter is one of the most popular fighting franchises, definitely because of Street Fighter 2. That game was everywhere in the 90s. You walked into any arcade, there's going to be a Street Fighter 2 machine.
Fighters ready. Engage.
When it hit the arcades, it brought like really great graphics, incredibly tight and deep gameplay, and a whole bunch of new like competitive ideas in arcade games that locked it in as a legendary fighting franchise.
I think what keeps people coming back to the Street Fighter franchise is both its simplicity and its complexity. It's a game that really embraces the phrase, a minute to learn, a lifetime to master.
Playing the mechanics of the Street Fighter series, it's definitely more advantageous to learn the combos and learn the timing of every hit. I've known some pretty fearsome button mashers, but I feel like if you take the time to learn the game, you're gonna win. You're gonna win more often.
Oh, what? Fight!
My favorite character to play is Chun-Li. She's very kick heavy. You can see it. She's got these thighs of steel.
Her off-the-wall head stomp is pretty much undefeatable, and she's hot. It's nice to have a little eye candy to distract the other fighters while you're whooping their ass.
I think when I was 11 or so, I walked into an arcade, saw the Street Fighter II machine, put a quarter in, and instantly fell in love with Fireball spam.
Who hasn't heard of the Fireball? Everyone knows it. You really can't call yourself a fighting gamer if you don't know Street Fighter. It's the original.
If you're like me, and I know I am, then you'll love Street Fighter.
Well, that wraps up our top 10 list. 10 great franchises, dozens of amazing games, all right here on GameTap. Got a favorite franchise that didn't make the list? Sound off on our forums in the talk section at GameTap.com. Tell us your favorites or even post your own top 10 list. Thanks for joining us for the best of GameTap franchises. I'm Carla Davis. Peace out.